Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Mike Palmer, Certified Financial Planner and founder of Ark Royal Wealth Management. If you've ever had an advisor prepare a retirement plan or Monte Carlo simulation, you'll want to stick around because we're doing a deep dive on the two most important assumptions that drive everything around retirement planning. Whether you're working with an advisor or using planning software yourself, these two assumptions are the foundation of every long-term financial projection. Let's dive in. When you're doing retirement planning, the first thing you have to decide is how much will your investments grow, which translates into what are the asset class return assumptions? Most investors have a mix of stocks, bonds, real estate, and cash, and the expected return for each of those asset classes can vary significantly depending on who's doing the planning and what data they're using. Some plans might assume U.S. stocks will return 12%, while others assume 8%. These assumptions matter because they're powering your projected wealth, your future income, and even when you can commence retirement. But it's not just about returns. Which brings us to the second important assumption. What's the standard deviation or volatility of each asset class? Standard deviation is a measure of how much your returns can swing year to year. It's what makes a financial plan realistic and not just optimistic. If the return assumption is the gas pedal, volatility is the brake. High returns with low volatility? Well, that's just an investment fantasy. So what are reasonable assumptions? This is where a good financial planner stands out. A Monte Carlo simulation is more accurate since it doesn't just illustrate average linear returns. It stress tests your portfolio against the ups and downs of real markets. Let's look at an example that illustrates how a small change in investment return assumptions makes a big impact on one's financial plan. Meet Stan and Sally Smith. They have approximately $2 million in retirement savings, and they're planning to retire this year at age 65. Their portfolio is about 70% stocks and 30% bonds, and they'll need $100,000 a year in retirement. We're assuming a life expectancy of 90 for Stan and 95 for Sally, so their assets will need to last about 30 years. In this example, we're using a simple asset mix. The stock portion is all U.S. large cap. The historical return of the S&P 500 over the last 50 years has been about 12%, with a standard deviation of about 17%. In example A, we use a return assumption of 10% for U.S. large cap. As you can see, this produces a success probability of 91%. Meaning there's a very low chance they'll outlive their money. In example B, we use a return assumption of 8% for U.S. large cap. This results in a 77% success probability. Not bad, but not as high as we like to see. The important takeaway here is to understand how a small change in return assumptions impacts your financial plan. At Ark Royal, we prefer to be conservative in our investment return assumptions while maintaining the historical volatility. Remember, if you're reviewing a financial plan or building one yourself, ask two key questions. What return assumptions are being used for each asset class? And what standard deviation is assumed alongside those returns? To sum it up, asset class returns drive your projected growth. Volatility shapes how realistic and resilient your plan is. It's better to be conservative with return assumptions. Thanks for watching. If this video gave you a better understanding of how financial plans work, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more education on retirement planning. See you next time. If you'd like to learn more about the benefits of working with a truly independent and objective fee-only financial advisor, we welcome the opportunity to talk with you.